I wanted to show my Canon DSLR kit that I carry with me on bigger jobs. Photography mostly, and sometimes video. I have other kits, a Panasonic kit and regular camcorders that I take for video. So this is mostly for still photography. This case is the Pelican 1610. Here is my Canon kit. I had the Pelican case with these inlay trays. I don't have the foam. I don't like the foam. I think this is more versatile. And on the case itself, the lid, I have the lid organizer, which is an extra accessory that you can purchase for the 1610. I'm gonna go into everything in this, or almost everything in this case, and show what I use on big shoots. On smaller shoots, when I'm just with one subject and it's a very fast sports shoot, I'll take only a few things off of this case and put it into another bag. But when I'm not sure what the production is gonna really be and I need to pack everything in here, I bring this case. I also have light stands and tripods, but I pack that separately. This is just for the cameras and accessories. I'm gonna start with all of this gear and then I'm gonna work my way to the lid. As far as cameras go, my main camera for stills is the Canon 5D Mark IV. I put tape up here because I'm cool, but this is the Canon 5D Mark IV full frame DSLR. I use Peak Design straps. These are the strap anchors. I love Peak Design. Hope they would sponsor me one day, but they probably won't. As my backup camera, I have a Canon 80D. This is a crop sensor. I just happened to start with the Canon 80D, and I didn't find a need to get rid of it once I got my Canon 5D Mark IV. This is a pretty good backup. I've used this maybe a few times, and it's pretty good. Better for video, straight video. 1080. Here's the Canon 24-105. This is the version 2. I don't use this lens that often, but it's one lens that can do everything, but it's the master of none. Here is the Sigma 18-35 1.8. This is meant for crop sensors, but if I'm shooting video in 4K mode on the 5D Mark IV, this is a really good lens for that because the 5D Mark IV crops into the sensor when you shoot 4K, and it ends up being a great focal range in that setting using the Sigma. It's also just a really good lens. Ever since I got the 18-35 1.8, I find that I've been using it for a lot of situations. Next lens here is another Sigma. This is the Sigma 35mm 1.4. It works on full frame and it works on the crop sensor. I got the Sigma 35mm because I'm shooting a lot of active lifestyle, street photography, portraits, that kind of a thing. And the 35, I find personally, is a better focal range for me to shoot that kind of subject matter. This lens isn't great for video because there's no image stabilization, but for stills, very good. Here's the 55-250 STM lens. This is for crop sensors. This is for my ADD when I need telephoto. I also bring this kit when I'm shooting with my C100 Mark IIs. This lens system works the same way. This is really great for telephoto shots. Here's my workhorse, my 16-35 f4 L lens. This is one of my most used lenses because I shoot active lifestyle, fitness, sports, but sports up close, not sports from a stadium. I like to shoot athletes right up there on a separate shoot, like not during a competition, but this is more for like athletic portraiture. And the f4, I tend not to shoot lower than f4 on, even if I have a lens that can go to 1.4, I tend to shoot f4 because I like to get more things in focus on the full frame sensor. And since this is IS, image stabilization, it really comes in handy. The 2.8 versions don't have IS, so to me, IS is a big deal, especially when I'm using this for video. Here is the Tokina 11 to 20 millimeter f2.8 zoom lens. This is my favorite wide-angle lens for crop sensors. So this is not going to work on the 5D Mark IV at all of the focal ranges. Probably at what, 18 or 16 it'll work. But I use this when I'm shooting with my 80D. I also use this lens. I have a Panasonic kit, a GH5, GH5S, and I have a Metabone speed booster. Attach the speed booster to this, and this is a great lens for my Panasonic system. Here's a full Peak Design strap. I have other size straps, but this is their biggest and thickest one, and my favorite strap. I have one of these hydrosorbent silica gels. I think this is to keep the humidity or something in the case. I have a roll of gaffer's tape, just a small roll. You never know when you're gonna need gaffer's tape. I have two cold shoe brackets that I have two flashes, and these, when I have my stand separately, I bring these in here because I shoot video as well, and I don't like to mix and match. So I'll keep these separately to hold my flashes. I have two Canon chargers, one for each camera, and then I have about 5 of the Canon L series batteries. Then I have a small lens cleaning kit. This isn't a high quality one. This is just one that I got for free that came with one of a camera bundle that I bought a while ago. But I use the blower and I use the brush. Here's a Tiffin filter holder. I do have several filters that I carry with me. These are polarizers and ND filters. I don't usually use these. Here's a variable ND filter. I don't usually use these filters for still photography. These I bust out when I'm shooting video. Here is a Velo grip for my 80D. Here's the Speedlight STE3 RT transmitter, and I use this for the flashes I have. My main flash is the Canon 600EX Mark II Speedlight. I really love this Speedlight. It's huge, massive, but it does everything I need or want to for this wattage. My second flash is the, what is this, Yongno? Is that how you pronounce it? 600EX RT2. This is supposed to be the poor man's version of the Canon. It's, for my basic use, it works fine. It works with the Speedlight transmitter. And it's a decent flash. The recycle time is a lot slower, and it doesn't last as long as the Canon. But for the price, this was under $100. I think it's a pretty good buy for when I need a second flash. Then my third flash is a Canon 430EX2. I've had this one the longest. I had one issue though with it, where I let the batteries in here too long, and the acid from the battery spilled over. Kind of damaged the unit, but it still works. I have the good old 50mm 1.8 Nifty 50. This isn't the newer one, this is the old school one. Plastic mounts. I am always surprised how good of quality photos I get from this lens. Not good in video, but for photos in low light and in good light. Here's the Canon 18-35 EFS lens. This is the newer model with the attachment where you can have the electronic zoom. This lens isn't as great in still photography. I would say the quality in stills is pretty low, but for video, this is a great lens with my 80D. And the last piece in this bottom section of my kit is the Canon 70-200 f4 IS version 1 lens. This has been my favorite telephoto lens. I did do a test with the version 2, and I'm liking the version 2 a lot more than this. I just don't have the money yet to purchase it. But once I do, I'm gonna upgrade, because the upgrade is significant compared to this version. But for my everyday use with telephoto shots, it's this guy right here. This is also good for video. when you have the camera on a tripod and you have the stabilization system off, because the stabilization, I did a review of this lens for video, the stabilization makes a lot of noise. So you'd want to disable the stabilization when you're shooting video, have this on a tripod, works great. In the upper tray compartment, here's the Rogue Flash Bender 2 large reflector. I really like using this flash bender. I attach this all the time to my Canon Speedlight, and it diffuses the light, really soft, really nice for portraits. Then I also have f-stopper's flash disc. I don't want to take it out of here, it's just going to explode. But the flash disc is nice. It's not as good, in my opinion, as the flash bender here. In these pouches here, I have some accessories. This is more anchors for my peak design. I have some extra batteries. I have batteries here, miscellaneous adapters when I'm shooting video, HDMI adapters, more batteries. I have a magic pen marker with an eraser if I'm shooting with the slate. I also carry a Sharpie. I don't know where my Sharpie went. Up here I have a USB cable when I'm connecting the camera to my computer. Then I have this Velo remote, wireless remote. And I have adapters for both my 80D and the 5D Mark IV. On the bottom here, here's an HDMI cable when I'm connecting my camera to a monitor. Then I have a really cheap shutter release, cabled shutter release for my 5D Mark IV. I have the Delkin Devices card reader. This is compact flash SD with a USB 3.0. I really like this card reader. It's very fast. And I like that the cable, everything is with it. I can plug this in the back of my iMac. Works great. It's, you know, kind of chunky, but it works really well. Then I also carry with me some of this rice paper. This is Palladio, that's the brand. Rice paper is my go-to for easy makeup for somebody who doesn't do makeup at all. If I don't have a makeup artist and the subject's face needs a little touch-up, it's a little shiny. When it's shiny, I use this rice paper. I get this stuff on Amazon. I buy it in boxes of 10. I keep this on every kit I have. I used to carry a whole brush and powder and all that stuff, but that's too much of a hassle. Then I have SD cards. All in all, I travel with this in my car. I don't take this on an airplane. This is way too heavy. This is about a 60 to 70 pound kit here. But it has almost everything I need, minus the tripods and light stands and extra light modifiers. There you go, that's my Canon kit.